Welcome back everybody to the Zeusdaz Unemulated Retro Game Channel. I go by the name of Zeus, and yes, it is another shit game time. This time I'm doing Peace Women on the Commodore 64. This is a paid request by Stefano Perechi. Hello mate, hope you're doing okay, and thank you for your request of this very unusual game. This came out in 1985 by Nightsoft Software, programmed by Don, and music was done by Toad. That's all there is to it. I had to do some revision with this game because I really had no idea what the deal about this game was, because apparently the two reviews I've seen of it has really slated it, and it basically brought up the point of not a political movement, but a particular point in time and an event which went on, and I had no idea what it was about, so I had to do some revision. And it's all about the Greenham Women's Peace Camp, which was a massive protest in the early 80s regarding nuclear weapons being placed at RAF Greenham Common in Berkshire. This was like 1981, 92, and tens of thousands of women, mostly mothers, would literally chain themselves to the fence of this huge area in protest. And this was during the young Thatcherite era, for Christ's sake, the 80s, and dark times. Luckily I was too young to really even take any much notice of it, to notice that any of this was beyond me. But it was all about huge amount of women taking protests about nuclear arms, and it was decided, I don't know who decided it, but it should be done by just women, mostly mothers, under what they call the importance of sex, you know, and to show women have the right as well to protest, all this stuff, women lib and all that. I guess that's what it's all about. Now the question is, was this game a piss take of that, or was it defending them? I don't know. I mean, the programmers haven't put their full names, I don't know. It's like one side of the coin, you could say, well, programmers are going, bloody women shouldn't have left the kitchen, for Christ's sake, do what they know best and stay what they are, you know, all that un-PC stuff. Whereas the other side of the coin, they could be saying, no, they did their thing and fair play to them. But I find it odd that, you know, most of these movements, whether it's these PC movements, whether it's women's lib or the far left especially, because as we know, I don't like the far right at all, believe me, but the far left get in a hell of a huff if you don't agree on what they think. And before you know it, you know, they're out on the bloody streets marching for everything. They can't get their own way. It's terrible. Just look at the old Brexit bloody protest, for Christ's sake. It's quite laughable now when you look at all that nonsense. But it gets to a point where they're very hypocritical. Hypocrisy starts to run riot, and it's like, who decided all these protesters should be women? I mean, that's not fair. I'm sure there's a lot of men back then that would have been happy to protest too, wouldn't they? So who knows? The jury's out on that. I personally like winding up certain groups because they ask for it. I can defend certain things like animal rights protesters, that's fair enough, until they get to the point where, which is what they did, where one particular incident they actually dug up the remains of family members who were working in these laboratories, and I think that was absolutely disgusting. So there's sometimes they don't handle things very well at all, and these women weren't being taken seriously back then either, even by the authorities and the police. I've read quite a bit about it. It's on the internet, check it yourself, or on wiki, whatever. It's under the just type Greenham Common Women's Peace Camp or something like that, or Greenham Common Women's Protest. It will come up with all of it. So it's all about nuclear arms, and that's what this game is. It's actually it's not, you know, I'm going to give it 2 shit ratings because I can only find one area on the internet where it says it had a £7.95 release. I cannot find any pictures of the tapes, any pictures of the inlay cards. You know, as far as I'm concerned, this could have been a PD release or bunged on a compilation tape or a $2.99 budget. So I'm going to give it 2 shit ratings. 1 for a $7.95 release, which it really is bad, or 2 if it's a budget release, not so much, because I actually think I would prefer to play this than the likes of Chase HQ on the Commodore 64. I can tell you, and that's no joke. You know, it's basically a game. If you ever heard Moon Patrol, played that. This is basically Moon Patrol, just dressed up differently. Got to avoid obstacles, jump. You're controlling a Sinclair C5 for some reason. And the idea is you've got to get to the main plant and blow it up. And yes, there is an ending on it. It just doesn't go, the first screen just doesn't keep looping over forever and ever, or going game over or whatever. It actually does have an ending. You have 4 quadrants, and each quadrant has 4 sectors, so there's basically 16 stages, and then you get a little animated ending when you blow up the plant. So that's got it in its favour. It's got an ending, it's got a nice tune, and the animation is very smooth as well. The engine noises is quite nice. If you see i5, you can hear it speed up and go down. So it's got that in its favour. It's also got a few jokes, one against Jeff Minter, it's got one against Arthur Scargill. I'll get into that during the game. But as far as, you know, me winding up certain parties and movements, I enjoy doing that. I think we should all laugh at each other and ourselves. It makes the world much more rounder and fun to live in, rather than some people would love this world to be square and boring. It's got silly. It's gotten beyond PC sensible to PC unrealistic stupidity. It's gone madness, absolutely mad. And for you that saw me do a shit game time on Sabrina, you know, one of the special moves of that was getting your breasts out and knocking your opponents out. And I was doing that deliberately to wind up the bloody liberal movement. What's it called? Not Liberal Dems, Women's Lib movement. Just to wind some of them up because it's bloody silly. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So there you go. That's my feelings about it. But we get on with the game, and as I said, there are parts of the game. It is amusing at points. You've got a skill level as well. You can notch the skill level up by pressing right on the joystick and going back down. There's 4 levels of difficulty. Well, we'll start off with the basic one. And here you are. You're driving along for some reason in a Sinclair C5. And you can only fire 1 bullet at a time, and you can jump. So it's very much like Moon Patrol. And if you play that, you'll understand where I'm coming from. You have to jump, obstacles, shoot, forward, shoot, back. You can't shoot up though. There you go, Greenham Common, look. That's all it's about. There's also some in-game jokes. There's one about Arthur Scargill. If I get far enough in it, you'll see it. It says something like, I don't know, what does Arthur Scargill do when he has an itchy nose or something, and it says picket. In other words, because he was involved in the picket riots back in the 80s under the Thatcher era. And there's also a sort of backhand slap to Jeff Minter in it as well about llamas, so take that as you will. I don't know if that was a knock on him for the programme, I have no idea. But as you can see, the scrolling's very smooth, and actually, if you hear, the engine noise changes. Right, here we go. What does Arthur Scargill do when his nose itches? There you go, and then it comes up with the answer in a minute. Picket. So you can see, look, quadrant, approach, sector 2. There's 4 sectors for each one. There you go, picket. He picks his nose, right. But as you can hear, it slows down, right. I just shoot these, and then as you go to the right, the engine noise speeds up. So that's quite good. So it's got a nice little tune, and as I said, it's got an ending as well. So that all plays into it. I have played a lot worse games than this, and I'll tell you something, and I'm not joking you. I would rather play this than Chase HQ on a Commodore 64, I'm telling you. If you want to play a pile of unplayable shit, it's Chase HQ on a Commodore 64. So you can jump up and shoot these things, but as I said, you've only got 1 bullet at a time. So, but I couldn't really find any information about the game. You know, I couldn't find any release tapes, pictures, or inlay cards. Oh, dead there, and yeah, a halo, and I'm going up. So, yeah, Greenland Common. That's where it was all happening. Where massive protests, women chained themselves to the fence around the nuclear centre, protesting against nuclear missiles and armoury and everything else. So the case was, the question is, was this game designed, once again, in favour of the women doing it, or was this game developed as a piss take of the women doing it? So Sector 3 now. I don't know what that is. There's 2 frames of animation there, and they change direction and dive down at you. Oh, come on. Can't I kill this one? I want to kill that one. See, they dive down as well. Ooh. Oh no. Can't get up that high. Got you. Oh! No. Go, 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 go. He's chasing me. I'll be honest with you, mate Stefano, I've seen worse, I'll be honest with you, games, but as I said, if it's proven $7.95 release tag, then yeah, it's going to get a fucking lot more on the shitometer, because no way is this an £8 game. But then again, it wasn't long ago when I did fucking EastEnders on the Spectrum, and that was for a £10 price tag. Sector 4, approach, quadrant approach. Llamas are loathsome. There you go. That's a. Oh, I got to run over. I suppose I'm running over hedgehogs now, am I? So is this a case of not just women protesting about? This is basically a knock on women's lib and all this stuff and feminism, possibly. I mean, the only artist I could find regarding a picture, which is on my thumbnail, is a short-haired woman with dungarees driving a C5, possibly because she's got short hair, depicting a lesbian. Who knows? One life left. There's a lot of questions left open to this game. I've never heard this game, but I'm going to long play it. I've just got to wait for my buddy to get a developer poke for me for it, because there's no crack copy of this with a trainer. Llamas are loathsome, as I said. But it's at least the engine noise revs up as you move along. Oh, he's a fast one. I don't know, I can see me playing this all the way through. I'll be honest with you, mates. I'll be honest with you. It's sad as it may sound. But the only couple of reviews I've found have really slated it, So, I think, yeah, there you go. I've done the first quadrant. And to many of you, you might think, oh, it just repeats, it loops. It doesn't. There's actually 16 stages and there is an ending. So you're basically on your way to Greenham Common, where you want to blow it up. The idea is get to the base and blow it up. That's basically what it is. So, quadrant 2. Here we go. I'm on a broomstick. Oh my god, I'm on a broomstick now. How does that work? So here we go. Quadrant. I can't see what I said. Perimeter. So I'm on the perimeter of this, and you can only shoot forward this time. How are you supposed to get past these and you can only shoot forward? At least the collision detection not too bad there. So as you can see, the scenery does change. I don't know, guys, watching this video, what do you think of this game? Please leave your comments below, let me know what you think. As I said, it's got a nice tune, it's very smooth animation. But is the game basically a piss take of women's lib? That's the question. I've run out of bullets now, so can't I? I can find them. Can I get that high? Yes, I can. So I guess these are supposed to be bombers, aren't they? You've got to get rid of the bombers, but why is she riding a broomstick? Yeah, so all in all, basically, get through 16 stages and blow up the plant. Ooh. So, quadrant 2, sector 2, so that's basically stage 6. Sometimes I can't fire for some reason. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I've played a lot worse. I mean, this is dire, but I've played, after playing so many games on the shit game time, compared to some games, this is brilliant. But, yeah, it depends how you take it. Is it a Is it sticking up for women bloody protesting, or is it a piss take? That is what remains open, that answer to that question. Who knows? You. Okay, so far so good. So we're on stage 7 now. What have we got here? I've got no lives left, by the way. Oh my god, what are these? What are they? Bloody great big apples. What has apples got to do with anything? I understand it if it was something to do about protesting about chemical plants and chemistry and all sorts of chemical bloody changes in things. In the steroid injection, you've got massive apples. Or testing stuff on animals. But this is all about the nuclear missile movement back in the early 80s. So yeah, you can't shoot backwards. Maybe that's part of the game why it gets a little bit of a bad rap. People automatically think that it's the same few screens looping time and time again, getting nowhere, but it doesn't. There is an ending. Oh my god. The big version is what I was trying to fight earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'm going to rate this twice. Not much swearing in this because it's not pissing me off, to be honest with you. It's not... I don't know, I mean... I'm all for one for everyone having their fair share and their equal rights and all that. But some, as we know, you can appreciate, some groups out there really wind you up the wrong way. I mean, we had a massive deal with animal rights protesters. And I love animals, simple as that. I wouldn't see any harm come to animals. But the way they went about it sometimes wasn't just questionable, it was disgusting. I remember they actually dug up one of the family members from their grave of the people that were working in one of the factories. That was just disgusting. That really was bad to do that. It's like the severe left movement. Can't get their own way. Everything gets thrown out the prams. Oh, here we go. We've done that sector now. So I'm on the new quadrant, so I'm halfway through the game. Yeah, get over the top. Too many toys thrown out the pram. To the point you can't support them anymore. And some movements, yeah, can get on. Oh, I've got a tank now. So she's driving a tank. Ooh. And, ooh. Yeah, it can go too far sometimes. Oh, that's it. I think that's game over. But as you saw, if you've watched my... oh, God, what was that bloody game over? What was that shit game? You even get a scoreboard, look. There you go. You even get a high score table. I'm trying to think. Sabrina, that was it. If you look at that, I did something in that just to piss off the women's lib movement. Because it gets too silly. So of course, if you've played Sabrina on the Spectrum or Amstrad, or if you haven't, if you've seen my review, you know there's a certain move you can do with your breasts. So of course, I was flapping my breasts out, and I was actually verbally saying, "This is one for you, the liberal feminist movement." So because I'm all for one for protesting within reason and a certain amount. But sometimes it can get too much, and it's a shame that the world today is taking itself far too seriously. It's society has driven us down a road where you literally feel as if your mouth has been sellotaped. You can't say, or even though we got free speech, but apparently we have, but we haven't. If you know what I mean, it's got too silly. The PC element has got beyond silly. It's swung the other way. It's gone from beyond sensible and reasonable to bloody idiotic and silly. I mean, I remember some time ago there was a big kick about not having the Bar Bar Black Sheep bloody tune in nurseries or whatever next. That's just silly. That's taking things too far. I mean, it'd be taking the word, certain colours out of the dictionary next, or taking fat bottom girls off every Queen album. It's just silly. And I think personally this was probably a piss take game for that woman's protest of the early 80s, going against the Greenham weapons, whatever it's called, movement. But what am I going to give this on a shit tone? I mean, if it's £7.95, then no doubt it's going to get a great big... I'm going to give that 91 shits. I'm rating that because of the quality of the game for a $7.95 release, not because it's against certain movements. I couldn't care less about that. I like to have fun. You get a lot further in this world if you learn to take the piss out of yourself, not just others, but if you can take the piss out of yourself as well. It makes the world a lot more fun to be in. The world becomes round again, not boring and square. However, this rating is because of the quality of the game, nothing to do with that. But it is, if it is a budget release, or some game, a PD game, or even a game that's bunged on a tape, you know, one of these compilations, then it's going to get a less... I'm actually going to give that 74 shits if it's a budget release. I find it amusing. And I'm actually going to long play this once I get my the Commodore 64 poke from my mate. It's going to give me an invincibility poke so I can whack it in and play the whole game. But I can tell you now, it definitely has an ending. There's 16 stages, and you get a little animated ending at the end, which is quite nice too. So you've got an animated ending, not a game over or a loop. You've actually got an ending. You've got a nice, pretty nice tune here. Sound effects are okay, and there's scrolling is very smooth. I personally think the ones that are really shitting on this are those that think it's because it's against women's lib and women's movement of the Greenham peace camp back in 1981. Go and have a look at that information. It's probably on Wiki. Go and check it out. Greenham Common. That's what you got to do. Just type in Greenham Common women's protests and it will come up. You can read it all for yourself and leave your thoughts in the video. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this game. So thank you again for this shit game time request, mate. I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry there's not been a lot of swearing, but I don't put on the swearing for fakeness. I put on the swearing if I legitimately am getting angry and frustrated, and this didn't actually do it for me. But for a £7.95 price tag, yes, it is a shit game. Not so shit if it's budget though. Okay, that's it for me for this edition of Shit Game Time. I do apologise for anyone still waiting for their pick. It's quite a popular series, and obviously you have to wait your turn. It's roughly a 7 to 10 day waiting list. But if you do wish to put a game into the Shit Game Time section, then please see the video just about to pop up and click that in the requests. It's £5 per requests. You'll get a shout out on that video as well. And if there's a game you want to see me put in the vault of shitness, then be my guest. Just go to that video and listen carefully to the instructions. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, I'm off to go and play this game now, well shortly. Zeus out.